Good evening, everyone. Very good evening. I'm really sorry I couldn't, um, you know, um, I couldn't start on time today. I was in a meeting. Okay, we'll get started. I'm really sorry. Okay, let's start without any further delay. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Let me know when you can see my screen. Okay. Good evening once again. We'll get started. Very good evening. Okay, so today we'll talk about files. Okay, how to handle files, how to access different files, and how to work with files. Okay, that's what we're going to do today. So before we get into that, let's look at uh, um, a module called OS. Okay, and how we can actually read files or work with operating system using Python. Okay, we will be able to work with operating system using Python. Okay, so I'm going to write a program now. So first thing first, to work with operating system, you need to import module called as OS. You need to import module called OS or operating system. So I'm going to say import OS. Okay, I'm going to say import OS. Okay, and okay, now if you want to print the operating system name, okay, you want to print what is the operating system's name. Okay, so we can do so by printing os.name. Okay, if you want to know the operating system name, you say os.name, and when you run it, you see NT. Okay, all Windows machine will give you NT as the output. Okay, NT is the base for all Windows machine. So you get NT here. Of course, if it is Unix, you will get POSIX. Okay, so Unix and even Mac OS is based on POSIX. So you'll get POSIX. But if you're running on Windows, you will get NT. So that's how you know whether the operating system is Windows or non-Windows. Okay. Okay. Now I want to know where my p1.py is, where the current file is. We call it as current working directory. Okay. Current working directory. This shows where your files are. Where are you currently? Okay. So here I'll say print. Okay. os dot get current working directory. Get CWD. And when you run it, you see, this is the location where my uh, the current file is, right? I'm writing this program in p1.py, and the p1.py is in this location. Okay, so C users HP PyCharm projects PR1. Okay, this is where my files are. Okay, so this is called current working directory. Okay, let's say I want to display all the directory. Okay, in the given current directory, I want to display all the directory. So I'm going to say here print os dot list directory. Okay, and when you run it, okay, You can give the folder name, okay, or if you don't give, it will take the current directory. So in the current directory, these are my files and folders, okay, and the output is in the form of a list. Okay, so if I want to check if let's say my drawing.png, okay, if my drawing.png is there in this directory or not, so I can say here for I in os.list directory, okay, if I equal to print file found, okay, and I'll assume that file is not present. Before I run the loop, I'll assume file found equal to false. I'll assume the file is not found. The moment I found the file, I will change it. I'll say file found equal to true. Right? Now you can check if file found, okay, equal to false, isn't it? Okay, if file found equal to false, I'll say print current folder doesn't have this file. Okay, simple. So now when I run it, file found, okay, because my drawing.png is here. Now I'll say my drawing1.png, which is not here. So now when you run it, current folder does not have this file. Okay, file not found. Okay, so this is how you can actually check, okay, if file is found or not. Okay, what else? You want to rename a file, let's say. Okay, let's say my drawing, I want to rename as, I want to rename it as my own drawing, let's say. So if file is found, only then you can do it, right? So I'm going to say here os.rename source file. Source file is the current file, right? So this is my current file. And you want to name it to what? You want to rename it to, let's say, okay, it's my drawing one. My drawing one. I want to rename my drawing to my own drawing, let's say. Now when you run it, okay, so it has changed here. You can go back and see again. See, my own drawing.png. Okay, it has changed the file to my own drawing.png. So this is how you can even change the file name. So all the operating system commands you can handle using OS. You rename a file, delete a file, move a file, okay, open a file. Open a file will do in some time. Okay, so these are some of the functions that are available in operating system which you can handle. Okay, you want to do the clear. You want to clear the screen. Okay, so we do have a file, okay, option for that. Okay, see, to clear the screen, we have different commands in Mac OS and in in Windows. In Windows, we type CLS, clear screen, we call it. Okay, in Mac, we call it as clear. Okay, we want to we say clear. Okay, so let's say I will check. Okay, so if os dot name equal to NT, it is a Windows machine, right? So I'm going to say here os dot system. Okay, system is a command. Okay, the OS specific command. Okay, so I say os dot system and I'll pass CLS. If it is Windows machine. Okay, if it is not Windows machine, else, okay, os dot system, you say clear. This is the command that we fire in Mac. Okay, so of course on command prompt, if you run it, you know the things will get clear. Okay, when you run it from command prompt, okay, you want to see it, we can show. So I'm going to say cmd. Okay, for a moment, let's comment this part. Okay, okay, first we'll make something on the screen and then we will try to clear it. Okay, so I'm going to run this file. I'm going to say Python space. Okay, so the output displayed here. Now I'm going to remove this. Okay, and we will run it to save it. Okay, save it. Now when I run the same file, you see everything, screen is clear. Okay, and you can even print something here after this. Screen is clear. Okay. Screen is clear. So this is how you can clear the screen on Windows or even Mac or Linux machine using Python program. Okay. There is one more called as path leave. Okay. So from path, we have path leave. So I'm going to show you, demonstrate how path leave works. Okay. So let's say, yeah. Import, okay, or directly will import path. So from path leave, import path. P capital, okay, path. Okay, give me a second, I'll take some water. Okay, so I have imported path from path leave. So what's the use of this? Okay, you can iterate through the path. Okay, so let's say here I'm going to create couple of folders. So we have the path here, isn't it? Now we'll take we'll create some folders here. Okay, so I'm going to say here os dot make directory. Okay, make directory, okay, is where you can create folders. If you give it path, it will create folders with path. Otherwise, you can simply create folder here. Okay, so we can create something like today's date is 8th. I'm going to say September 8 files. Okay. Now when you run it, okay. So see, here it has created September SS. September 8 file. See, the folder is created. Folder will always be created at the top. Right. Now I'm going to say September 8 data. It has created this folder. So you can create folder using this. You can create folder, you can remove even. Okay, rename we have already seen. You can even remove the folder. Okay, remove will. Okay, so if I say here os dot remove, okay, and I'll say September 8 data. Okay, comment it out and you run it. Access denied. It does not have access. Okay, okay, because you have not logged in using admin. That's why it is not able to delete it. Okay, and more so it is in C drive. Okay, C drive, you can't delete files without admin right. But if we had created it in, let's say, D colon slash, or you can do this slash September 8. Okay, so now if I can go and show you, so you see it has created September 8 data, right? And now if I want to remove it, well, here also we don't have permission. Okay. Okay. So, okay. So in this case, what we have to do is, okay. Okay. So see here. Okay. OS remove. Okay. I think I made a mistake here. Okay. Here, if you go, I'm sorry. Okay. Here, this will remove file. Okay. My mistake. Okay. So say sample.txt. My mistake here, guys. Okay. Sample.txt. I have the sample.txt here. Now, when you run it, see, it has deleted. Right. So remove will only remove files only. Okay, my mistake. Okay, it does not remove direct. It will remove only files. Okay. Now, if you want to delete files, you have to say remove directory, RM directory, dir. Okay. So remove will remove files. Okay. You have to use rmdir to remove folders. Okay. So now when I say os dot rmdir, and here I say September 8. No, okay, we'll copy the paste directly from here. Okay, now when you run it, so see the folder is gone. September is gone. September 8 is not there. See, it's gone. So RM directory will remove the folder. Okay, and remove. Okay. So yeah, so we were talking about how to iterate through a folder. So what we'll do is we are here, we'll iterate through PyCharm projects, let's say. So I'm going to say here, I'll delete it, sorry, I'll comment it. I'm going to share the same code with you, right? So you can practice this. You know why I'm commenting it out, right? Because if file is already created once, folder is already created once, you can't create it again, right? It'll give you error saying file name exists, isn't it? So when you're removing a file, again, you can't delete it again, right? You can't delete it again. So, so I have commented it out for now. Okay. So you have, okay. So we're talking about path here. So let's say I have imported path already. Now let's say I say content, or content of a folder equal to path, and then I give the folder name here. Okay. Now for every content, okay, or we'll say con here, or just C here, for C in content dot, okay, iter directory. This is going to iterate through the directories. Okay, for C in content dot iter directory, and I'm going to say rend, okay, C dot name. Oops. PyCharm, because where are we right now? We are in P1, isn't it? So when it is in P1, you can't see the file. So instead, what I'll do, I'm going to take the complete path here. Now, when you run it, so see, so there's only one folder here, PR1. Okay, there's only one folder. Now, if I go to PR1 here, okay, or let's do one thing. So this is to iterate through the directory, isn't it? So iterate through given directory. Now let's scan the directory. Okay, so I'm going to say here, okay, um, um, os dot scan directory. Okay, so let's say I put directory content equal to os dot scan directory, and here I'll put the same Python projects, which is one level above where we are. Let me run and see if it works fine. Yes, it's working fine, right? Now I will go through each content of this. Okay, so I'm going to say for directory content. Okay, so I'll say dir underscore c. Okay, in directory content. Okay, in directory content. Okay, in directory content, I'm going to say, okay, directory dot. Okay, so if you do dot, you won't get anything. So you have to say dot stat. Okay, and then you say dot htm time. What do you get here? Okay, so this is the time when, okay, this was created. Now if I go to p1, okay, slash pr1, right, that's the folder. So these are the time of all the, so stat will give us the statistics. Okay, will give us the statistic. Okay, what else are we missing? Okay, why don't we convert into date? Okay, this has given you in numbers, isn't it? But can we convert this into date and see? Okay, okay, this is what we get as date, isn't it? But this is in numbers. Let's try to convert into actual date. And then let's see what we get. So I'm going to take this value. Okay, we'll print this. Okay, we'll print later. Okay, so I'm going to say directory time equal to, we'll have this. Okay, now I'm going to convert into actual timestamp. Okay, directory, we call it timestamp equal to, okay, we need to import date time. Okay, so we will import here, import date time. Okay, so here you'll say date time dot date time date time date time dot date time dot from timestamp, from timestamp. Okay, and here we will give the directory time. Okay, and then we'll tell in which format you want the answer to be, and we give the format. Format very similar to what we discussed in time before. Okay, I want %y for year. Okay, then you say percentage small m for month, capital M is for minute. Okay, and then I'll say percentage small d for date. Now we can say percentage h for hours. Okay, colon percentage capital M. Okay, so now we'll print, okay, directory comma timestamp, directory timestamp. So you can convert date into timestamp. Now see, this is how we write 9, okay, 8th September, right? First is year, then month, then date. So 8th September 2022, 5:30 is written this way. Okay, this is how we convert into, date into date time. Any question, guys? All good so far? Okay. So I think this is it for about reading that the file and folder, of course, right? Now we will switch to our topic of the day, which is reading text file. What we have done, reading about the operating system, will help us to go to the particular folder, go to the particular file to read it, right? Now, how do we read it is a different story. Let me see if we have any file in the same location. This is our default working directory location. So if I don't provide any path, it will come here. If I provide any path, provide any path, it will go and check in that path. But if I don't provide path, it will check from here itself. Okay, so let's say we have file1.txt. Okay, and this is the content of file1.txt. Okay, I'm going to read this file1.txt. Okay, so how do I read this? Okay, let me move all these things here to different location. Okay, so I'm going to read the file. Okay, so I'm going to say file handle. handle, object, whatever you want to call. Okay, equal to open. I want to open the file. So I'll say open function. You don't need any module to read a text file. Okay, so I'm saying open. Okay, so open is a function and it takes two parameters. Okay, it takes two parameters. Okay, open takes two parameters. Okay, open takes two parameters. One is the text or not the text, the file name, right? File name with directory. If not, at the current working directory. Okay, we have a current working directory, so we don't have to give path. But if it is not at current working directory, then you have to give path. Okay, so I'm going to read file1.txt, right? File1.txt space. Okay, the mode. Okay, in which mode you want to open? Takes two parameters: file with directory and mode. So there are three types of mode. Okay, you have R, W, A. Okay, R stands for read. If you want to open a file just to read, you will say R. If you open a file only to write, we say write, W. And if you want, see, when you say write, it is going to remove the previous content and add only the new content. It's going to remove the previous content, add new content. Okay, so if you have some content in the file and by any chance you store in with write mode, the previous entire content will get deleted. Previous entire content will get deleted. So you have to be careful that you don't. Okay, you don't do write when you don't want to do write. If you want to delete the existing value and add a new value, then write is the best option. But it's not an option when you want to just change. Don't want to, um, make entire changes. Okay, you want to change some value. So you want to keep some value like that, and you want to change some value. That's where we use append. Append will add to the existing content. Okay, this is good. Then what do we do next? We have to tell here which mode you want to open. So I'm going to open in read mode for now, and we'll see other options as well. Okay, so now my file is open. So when you open a file, you also need to close the file. Always close the file. Okay, don't miss to close the file. Close the file, and closing should be done when you're done with all your work, isn't it? So that's why I'm doing at the end dot close. The file is closed, and all our logic will be between open and close. Okay, all our the magic will happen between open and close here. Okay, so I said file object open. Now to read the content, so file is open, but we need to read it, isn't it? So read, we have three options here in Python. Okay, the options are reading. Option 1 is called read. Okay, this can read any number of characters. Okay, we'll use read line. Maximum you can read is 1 line. Okay, I'll show you how you can read something less than a line. But you can always read less than a line, but you can't read more than a line when you say read line. Maximum it will read is 1 line. But your other one, read, can read any number of lines, isn't it? Third option, okay, is read lines. As the name suggests, you can read any number of lines. Okay, let's see them in action. So I want to read some content from the file1.txt. So I'll say here, okay, file object dot read. File object dot read. Read how many lines? Read. Okay, if you say just read, it will read the entire content. Okay, so you can say print file object dot read. It's going to read the entire content. You see, entire content of this file is read. Okay. Now I want to read just one line. So I'm going to say print file object dot read line. Okay, so maybe I'll comment it out. It has read just one line because we said read line. Since we said read line, it has read just a read line. Okay. Now let's try with read lines. What do you see with read lines? Print file object dot read lines. So see, entire line. Read lines will read entire lines, and it reads entire line as a list. As a list. Okay, as a list. So if I want to print 10th line, so if I want to print 10th line, what will I do? I will say entire lines equal to file object dot read lines. File object dot read lines. So entire line is read here as a list. Okay. Now I'm going to say print entire lines of 9, isn't it? 0 is line 1. It's a list. So okay, of 0 will give us line 1, line 2, and 9 will be your 10th line. So if you want to print 10th line, I can say something like this here. 10th line equal to, okay, and when you run it, oops, sorry, okay, entire line, it does not have 9 lines. So possible. Okay, so to know the number of lines, we will say print total lines of text, okay, is length of entire lines. Length of entire lines, 0. Oops, what happened? Is it correct? No, right? It should give us, it's a list, isn't it? Okay, it's saying len as 0. Let's see why. Read lines, okay, and let's print this first. Print type of entire lines. So list, perfect, it's a list. But why is it saying 0 len? It's a list, I agree, but why does it say 0 line here? Am I making a mistake? And let me try to print this first. Print entire lines. Ah, it's giving us blank list. You know what happened? Okay. You know what happened? Why it's getting a blank line? So let me show you in Paint what happens. Okay. So let's say I have multiple lines of code here. I have multiple lines of code here. Okay. Now in read lines, okay, in the first read line, we have read the entire line. When you have read the entire line, then where are you standing? You are standing at the last. Is there anything after this? No. You have read the entire line, so there is nothing after this. Okay. So what I want you to do is, I want you to go back to the beginning. Right? Once we do the read lines, we have read the entire lines and we are at the end. And now we need to go back to the beginning. Only then we will be able to read the entire lines. Okay, we have read it, we are at the end. You're already at the end, there's nothing in front of you. Okay, we have to go back to the beginning. So what do we do here? Okay, after reading the entire lines, okay, let's go back to the beginning. How do we go back to the beginning? We say file object dot seek. Seek 0. 0 means position 0. I want you to go to position 0. Now you see you have the entire value. Okay. So what happened earlier? We read using read lines, we read the entire content. Now you're at the end. So now again, if you try to read even read line, you won't be able to get a new value because you're already at the end. So you have to go back to the beginning. So file.seek will take us back to the beginning. Okay, of 0. So seek 0 will put it on the beginning of the text. Okay, if I say 5, it will put us on the 5th character. 0 means first character. So we are after reading, we are reading in line number 11, we are reading the entire lines. Okay, after reading entire lines in line number 11, okay, when we try to read again in line number 13, we are at the end. So before we read line number 12, we have said seek 0. So file object dot seek 0 will move the counter or your pointer or the pen to the beginning. Now again, when I try to read lines, I'll be able to read entire content once again. So now when I'm trying to do, I'm getting content and total lines of text is 51. 51 lines of text is there. So of course, when I say 10th line, you will get some output. So this is the 10th line. Okay. So you can access each line using read line. Okay. So this is the beauty of read lines. Now let's say read. Okay. We are at read here. Now, moment you say read, okay, it will read the entire content. Correct? It's going to read the entire content. Okay. And again, I will say file seek 0. After reading entire content, okay, there's nothing else to read. So you can go back to the first row using file seek. And now when I say read line, it will read the first line. So here, this will only read from the second line because first line we read using read line. So only from second line only, you will have the values to be read. Okay. So when we say read line here, okay, or let's say I want to read only first 3 character of a line. So I'll say 3. 3 means you want to read only 3 characters in that line. So see TO space. Okay, TO space is what you have read. So if you see here, to read, right? TO space is the first 3 character. I want to read to read. To read is 2 plus 4 plus 1 blank, 7 characters. So I'm going to say read line 7. Now when I say 7, now you'll be able to read 7 characters to read. Okay, but what happens if I give 1000 here? Okay, see, read line maximum it will read only 1 line. So even though you say 1000 or 10,000 or 7,000, but total number of characters in read line, okay, that line that we are reading is only, let's say 100. You will get maximum 100. Minimum, the number that you have described in the bracket, maximum you can get is the total character in line 1. That's all. It can't go to line 2. It can't go to line 2 because we are saying read line. But if you want to read first, first 100 characters, irrespective of which line it is in, okay, you can use read. Okay, so when I say read, okay, let me put some marker here saying this is where I am. Read, I want to read only first 20 characters or first 50 characters. I'll say read 50, irrespective of the line. See, line 1 will read only 1 line. So the content is in second line, you can't read it. Okay, but read will read first 50, 500 characters, irrespective of which line they are in. Okay, I said read 500, it will read first 500 characters. If all are in same line, fine. If they're in different lines, if they're all in 10 different lines, it's going to read 10 different lines. Okay, so we can run and show you here. Okay, so these are the first 500 characters. So it will read 500 characters. Doesn't matter how many lines it goes into. Okay, it is going to read. That's what the read is. Read line will read maximum 1 line. Read lines will read as a list. Okay, great. Now we'll talk about write. How to perform write. Okay, so I'm going to create the file object, just like what we did before. So I'm going to say file one, file or file object, okay, equal to file object equal to open, okay, file one dot txt comma w. See, when I say w, right, now see file one dot txt has some values, isn't it? Okay, now when I go and read w, and let's say I want to write something like this, equal to, this is the sample text to be added. Okay, so this is sample text I want to add to the file. Okay, so I'll simply say, okay, so okay, first thing is to open the file, second thing is to close the file, third thing is something between open and close. Okay, so this is text. I want to write this, so I'll say file object dot write. Okay, so here also you have write and write lines. I'll show you how to do write lines, but let's say we'll do write. When I say write and I say txt, okay, you run it. Now just go and see what happened to the file. See, the entire content that we had got deleted, and instead we only have, this is the sample text to be added. So write will remove everything. Write is not going to keep the existing value. Existing value is overwritten when you use write, overwritten. Okay, so you can't see what happened before. We have append. Using append, you can keep on appending to it. So both has its own advantage and disadvantage. Okay, depending upon your situation, depending upon your business requirement, you would choose whether you want to go with, okay, you want to go with write or append. Okay, so okay, so let me put this, and I'm going to move this away to our file, which I'm going to put it in the common website where you can actually read and practice. Write content to the file. Okay, this will delete the previous content completely. Okay, now I come here, and here I say a append. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go and see what happened. So see, it has added all these. This is the sample text to be added. This is sample text to be added. The sample text to be added. Okay, everything got added to this file. Okay, this is the beauty of append. Append will append to the existing content. Write will remove the old value and write with the new set of values. Okay, now what if I want to write multiple lines of code? So if you want to write multiple lines of code, you will declare them as a list. You will declare them as a list. Okay, so I'm going to declare values as a list here. Okay, so I'm going to say file, okay, okay, so let's say I want to say file content, okay, and list, let's say. So see, when we say read lines gave the output as a list. So when you say write lines, it will need input as a list. So I'm going to create a list. I'm going to add first text. This is first line. Okay. And when you are done, you have to add /n. Okay. Now I'm going to say second line to be added, and you say /n. Okay. You say third Okay, sorry guys. You guys didn't tell me. I did not share the program. Okay, I'm going to share the program. I missed to share the program. New share. Okay, so what I was showing you was right. Okay, so let's say, okay, I open this in write mode. Okay, when I say write here, okay, the entire content of file text one, which we had so many 51 lines, isn't it? All got deleted, and the text that we added, okay, got added here. Okay. Now, if you want to keep on adding to the content, you have to say append. Okay, you have to say append. Now, if you want to write multiple lines, you will, okay, you put a list here. You say third line. Okay. Now, why did I put bracket here? No, bracket is not required. Third line, and this is last line, so /n is not required. Okay. Now, if I go and run this 1, 2, 3 times, and if I go and show you what happened to file 1, okay, I have to share it. So this is the sample text. The sample text got added on top of each other. Okay, because we said append, so it added. Now, when we go back and when we say read lines, okay, when we say read lines, and now I'm going to say file object dot write lines. Okay, and here I will pass file content list. Okay, and I'm going to run it. Now let's go and see what happened to this text file. Okay, so using append, you can append the text to an existing file. Okay, using write, old content is deleted. You can say write lines or read lines. Okay, last concept before we end our session for today. Okay, the last line is when okay, so you have this thing. Okay, so if you want to write, okay, and read both, we said that read will only allow you to read, you can't write. When you say write, you can't read. But if you want to do both, you say plus, a plus or w plus or r plus. When you say r plus, you can do read and write. W plus will do write and read, basically same thing. Okay, plus means you have both read and write permission at the same time. Okay, so this is how you can read the content from a text file and write content to a text file. We'll stop here for today, guys. Okay, tomorrow when we meet, we will talk about JSON file. Okay, we will do JSON file, and with that we will finish our JSON file as well. So today is 20th day of our session. Okay, 10 more classes we will do. So in 10 classes, I'm thinking one day to work on JSON file. Then you'll have one day you will have error handling. Okay, so error handling we will have. We'll do one day turtle programming. Okay, one day we'll do turtle, how to draw simple graphs. Okay, one day we'll do plotting. Okay, so there are 3-4 topics which I'm planning will cover for next 10 days. Okay, so good everyone. Thank you so much for your time today. We'll see you in the next class. That's tomorrow. Bye. Take care.